At the bottom of a steep ravine, a mutilated body is discovered.
The level of rage and anger by the person who committed it had to have been at a level that most of us can never even think about.
At this moment, he's become a werewolf. I mean, this is an insane thing. He wants to erase this person's memory from the planet.
Without any clues, police have no way to ID the victim or the killer.
The only thing we found is a pack of matches to a local bar.
We have not only a whodunit, we have a who isn't.
Lieutenant Joe Kenda must sort through a slew of suspicious characters.
It's not against the law to be odd, but it draws my interest when you're doing something odd within 500 feet of a dead guy.
In a race to catch a killer whose brutality knows no bounds.
This is really ugly. And if he or she can do this, they can certainly do this again. I would often say in a police academy teaching a class, what does a murderer look like? A murderer looks like you and her. They look exactly the same as everyone else.
There's one thing that never changes: murder. A life has been taken. Their stories are now my stories. I'm Lieutenant Joe Kenda. I've solved over 387 homicides. Somebody has to take control. Somebody has to look out for the victim. I never know where a case is going to lead, but I'll never stop until it's solved.
Monument Valley Park. 2 miles of stunning gardens running through the center of town.
It's a beautiful park where lots of people run, they walk. It's just a nice place to be here in Colorado Springs.
Tom Donovan and his girlfriend, Teenie Campbell, are out for an early jog.
There was really nobody around, you know. It was a quiet Sunday morning.
A lot of people are getting ready for church with their families.
No, I don't. I made sure I was going to be off.
As Tom and Teenie round the bend of the remote southern tip of the park, they make a frightening discovery.
Did you see that? Does that look like blood to you?
We saw a rather large pool of blood. Talking 6 or 8 ounces of blood, that's a lot of blood. It looked fresh to me.
Could someone have had a bad accident? Leading away from the pool is a crimson trail.
And we followed it probably a couple hundred yards to where it went over an embankment.
Wow. Look, it's leading down.
Yeah, look, down there. Do you see that?
Is that a shoe?
I'm going down there.
Are you sure?
Both Teenie, my little partner, and myself were EMTs. I think that probably kicked in and we thought, well, maybe we could help the person, you know.
You need to call 911.
Across town, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is spending his Sunday at the office.
I'm scheduled to work Monday through Friday, along with my men. I very often work 7 days a week, sometimes 4 weeks on end.
This is Kenda.
Whenever the phone rings, we respond.
How long ago was it?
That's the way it works. Humans do what they do, and we have to deal with the aftermath of that.
All right, I'll be right there.
Minutes later, Kenda reaches the banks of Monument Valley Creek.
Body's down there at the bottom next to the creek.
Go ahead and peel it back.
It's obvious this is a male. From the shoulders up, unrecognizable as a human. The head is completely flattened and is less than an inch high. There is no face. There are no eyes. There is just a mass of bloody flesh.
Near the victim's head rests a 35-pound rock.
Who could have done something like this? Difficult to say the number of blows, but they were over 20, in my opinion. Someone is in an absolute rage when they are crushing this person's head with this rock, and probably sitting on their chest to do it.
But to Kenda and his men, it appears the rock was just the killer's finishing touch.
Closer examination of the body revealed he appeared to be a victim of stab wounds in his chest area.
It is a savage level of attack. They don't want to just kill him, they want to erase him.
Want to check in his pockets, see if he's got any ID on him?
A search of the body offers no evidence of the man's identity, but it does provide Kenda with a possible motive: robbery.
There's no wallet. There's no money.
There's something here.
Is that it?
The only thing we found is a pack of matches to a local bar.
Jack's place? You know where that is?
It's that bar right down the street.
Could it be a robbery? Sure, could be. But I don't think so. I think more likely than robbery, it is a very personal murder. To kill like this, you have to be really enraged.
To find out who wanted this man dead, Kenda must first figure out his name.
Without the victim's identity, you really don't have a starting point. You often hear about those last hours of a victim's life. It's so important to find out not only where they were, who they were with.
Because somewhere in that circle of either known or unknown associates, someone didn't like them.
Make sure you fingerprint him as soon as you get back to the crime lab.
No problem. We'll take care of it, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Could the initial crime scene offer any leads? Kenda and his team follow the blood trail back to its point of origin.
Is the first sign of blood you found?
Yes, sir.
Looks like you laid there for a bit.
It appears the victim was stabbed here and collapsed.
So it begins there.
All right, spread out, see if you can find anything else in the field.
Yes, sir.
As Kenda studies the scene, he notices impressions in the ground.
The grass is crushed in the direction of travel. Obvious drag mark of a human body. Very, very odd.
The trail of blood stretches to the edge of the ravine, a distance longer than a football field.
Someone drags a human body 463 feet. That is almost primeval.
Yeah, look at that there. When they got to here, the killer must have shoved him over the edge and climbed down and finished him off.
This person is stabbed, then dragged, then rolled off a ravine, and that's not enough. It's not enough. The killer gets down in there and continues his work.
The level of rage and anger by the person who committed it had to have been at a level that most of us can never even think about.
When you see something like this, I become very frightened. We need to find this person.
Investigators scour the area and find what appears to be the second murder weapon at the top of the ravine. And near the pool of blood where the fight began, they spot something else out of place.
I found what appeared to be a military duffel army type bag that was sitting close to the victim.
Unfortunately, the contents of the duffel bag offer no new clues about the identity of the victim or his killer.
And given the condition of the remains, this is going to be very, very difficult to find out who it is.
With little usable intel to go on, Kenda's in desperate need of a new lead.
If we could produce a witness that saw a certain kind of car, that saw an argument take place, that could describe someone to me, that'd be a much better position to be in than the one I find myself in, where I don't know anything.
He sends Detective Moore out to canvass all the houses that overlook the park.
I personally went to several locations, residents in the area, and made those contacts. Each resident that I went to had not seen anything unusual until they woke up that Sunday morning and observed the police intervention in the area.
Nobody hears or sees anything.
Where's the couple that called in the body?
They're right over there. She's Teeny Campbell. She called it in. She's with her boyfriend, Tom Donovan.
Tom Donovan, the attorney?
He's a defense attorney I know well. He and I have opposed each other in court on a number of occasions. I like Tom Donovan. He also happens to be a very good attorney.
Tom, how you doing?
Joe, good to see you.
I wish it was under better circumstances.
Yeah, me too.
I started to do the criminal work back in the late 60s and ran into most, if not all, of the homicide detectives over the next 20 years. They were always a class act, and Joe was one of the classiest.
Yeah, me too.
And I thought, well, at least we have a great witness to this, because Tom Donovan is an intelligent guy. He's been around crime before. He's not going to embellish a statement. He's going to tell you the facts as he knows them.
Can you tell me if you saw anything suspicious, either before or after you found the body in the area?
Actually, yes.
After discovering the body, Tom headed to the entrance of Monument Valley Park to direct police to the crime scene.
There were no cell phones in existence at the time. She was a better runner than I was, so she had to run back up to Colorado College, call the police. I went with her part way and then stood to keep the cars from driving over the blood spots when they came. I noticed an older car with an older gentleman doing something with the car. There was no reason for anybody to be out working on a car at 9 or 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
As Tom took down the license plate number, the guy got spooked and drove off.
I know Donovan well. When he said this guy doesn't fit, that means a lot more to me than if it's someone who has no experience in these matters.
Kenda radios in for patrol to put out an APB on the suspicious vehicle.
Dispatch, I need you to run a partial plate for me. The number is 5.
Joe.
Stand by.
That's the car. That's the guy.
That's him right there?
That's him.
Disregard. Great, thank you. More.
As he makes his way toward the man, Kenda can't help but wonder if he's about to capture a killer.
Now you're on my turf. Homicide is what I do.
Lieutenant Joe Kenda is investigating the murder of a nameless and faceless victim. Though his detectives have tracked down the 2 weapons used in this ghastly crime, the only clue to his identity is a matchbook from a local bar.
More.
Thanks to a tip from eyewitness Tom Donovan, Kenda is about to question a suspicious character who's just returned to the scene of the crime.
Excuse me, sir. I'm Detective Kenda. How you doing?
Good.
What's your name?
Eldred.
Were you here earlier today?
Yes, sir.
He has a car that's in extremely poor condition. It looks like he lives in it.
His demeanor was a little bit unusual.
He's very concerned about his personal space. He seems nervous. Is it fear of the police? Or is it fear because he's just committed a crime?
Everything about Eldred Poisel strikes Kenda as suspicious, not the least of which his explanation for why he left the park and returned.
What were you doing?
Oh, I was working on my headlights.
So why are you here twice? Well, I had the headlight back in my room, and I realized that when I came here. You couldn't change this headlight in where your room is? No. Nothing he's saying is making any sense.
Why were you doing it here?
Well, if I drop something in it, it's on the concrete, it's not in the grass, so it's easier here.
It's not against the law to be odd or to do odd things. But it draws my interest when you're doing something odd within 500 feet of a dead guy. That's different.
We questioned him about that, why he would leave and come back. He stated that he left to go to an auto parts store, which checked out. He had the receipts, he had all the documentation. We sent an officer over and it was confirmed. There was a purchase receipt. And so that made sense, and it checked out as to why he left and then came back to finish his repairs on his car.
You mind if we look in your car?
No, sir, go ahead.
Go ahead, guy.
We certainly expected to find bloody clothing because of the amount of trauma that was used on the victim.
Lift your hands. Anything? No.
A search of Eldred's car yields nothing of interest, but Kenda's not letting him off the hook just yet.
His clothes are clean, but he left. So it's very possible that he took off blood-soaked clothing in his motel.
We need to see where you live.
Okay, I'll drive you over.
That's all right. We'll drive you over. You can come with us.
"15 minutes later, Eldred shows Kenda and Detective David Moore into the motel room he calls home.
Mind if we have a look around?
Go ahead.
No any weapons in here, do you?
No, sir.
It's in shambles, as we expected. The place is filthy.
Why don't you go check the other rooms?
But we look anyway, and we check everything in there.
Did you find anything?
Nothing.
We find nothing that connects him to this crime.
I appreciate your cooperation.
Yes.
Sorry for the inconvenience. We'll have a unit take you back to your car.
Okay, cool.
Kenda's just lost his only suspect.
Normally, a victim's known, and the investigation proceeds immediately. With an unknown victim, it slows way down. The very last thing I want. I don't want slow, I want fast.
Kenda and Moore check in with the coroner.
How you doing?
Lieutenant,
So you got anything for us yet?
got quite a bit of new information. Would you like to see?
According to the coroner, the autopsy revealed more injuries than just the crushed head and stabbed chest.
Our victim suffered severe trauma to the internal organs.
He was probably kicked in the chest a number of times before the dragging began. So we have an even more violent attack on this victim than we thought we had.
Any luck with the prints yet?
Yeah, we sent the prints to the crime lab, and we got lucky.
The crime lab compared the victim's fingerprints to those in the state database and got a hit.
We were able to identify who the victim was.
Carlos Victor Espinoza, 25 years old.
Carlos lived in an apartment a few blocks from Monument Valley Park.
And we also found his place of residency of his parents.
Kenda and Detective David Moore arrive at the Espinosa residence and deliver the awful news to his parents.
Mr. Espinosa?
Yes?
I'm Detective Kenda. This is Detective Moore.
What's this about?
Ma'am, I have some news about your son.
Well, what happened?
Well, there's really no easy way to say it, but he was killed last night.
It is a very emotional thing that you do. It's very difficult. And having my own father is the victim of a homicide, it's something I've always volunteered to do. And so I just feel I could relate to them losing a loved one.
No.
What?
No.
Oh, that can't be right.
You can't.
I'm very sorry for your loss. Is it possible you come in to talk to you for a few months?
No.
So my wife started crying. I react pretty uncontrolled. And that's how we find out.
It was a horrible day that day. It was, you could not imagine taking a family member from you. The sky just fell down. My whole road ended.
I know this is a very difficult time for you, but we need to find out who did this to your son.
They explained that Carlos has always been a good son to them. He's not a kind of guy that you would expect to be involved in a violent crime or the victim of one.
He used to help a lot of people in the neighborhood, fixing up the yards and cleaning up the yards for them. And I don't think my son had any enemies.
The Espinosa family describes Carlos as a gentle, quiet young man who was working 2 jobs to get ahead.
He didn't finish high school, but he worked really hard. He was working in a restaurant. He worked at the Salvation Army. He delivered goods from people and just picked them up from donations. He didn't have time to figure out what his goals were because he passed away.
Despite their heartbreak, Carlos's family manages to give Kenda a sliver of a lead.
There's a girl, but I don't know her name.
Any idea where we could locate her?
First time I've ever seen her.
Okay, again, I'm sorry for your loss, and we'll keep you updated on the progress of the investigation. Thank you.
Carlos's new girlfriend is Kenda's best bet for solving the case. In hopes of tracking her down, he circles back to his first and only clue.
We were very fortunate to find the book of matches to Jack's.
So we go to the bar, talk to the bartender.
How you doing?
Good.
You know Carlos Espinosa?
Carlos? Yeah.
Well, he was murdered last night.
The bartender is shocked at that. He said, Carlos? Yeah, Carlos. Why do you say that? Carlos is a harmless guy. Comes in occasionally, has a few drinks, and he goes home.
Do you know anything about his girlfriend?
No, I don't.
But when Kenda asks who might have had it in for Carlos, the bartender delivers.
There were these 3 guys.
According to the bartender, there's a trio of regulars who'd recently been giving Carlos a hard time.
There's this guy named Ed, and Ed's a troublemaker. Ed starts fights in here, and he's an angry guy. That's interesting. What other friends? Well, there's a guy named Joe. He's Ed's buddy, and he just got out of prison. Terrific. And another guy named Kevin hangs out with both of them.
Ed, Joe, and Kevin were always short on funds, and the 3 of them targeted Carlos when they realized he had some money.
Hey, Carlos, you got us again?
I don't think so, guys.
Oh, come on, man. Don't start wussing at us right now.
So next round.
Bartender, give us another round.
Right here on this guy.
That's right.
No, I don't think so. Not this time, guys.
Are you serious?
And I think whenever he realized that they were just hustling him, he decided to stop and not pay for him anymore. And they got really mad, really angry.
Carlos was starting to be resistive of paying for their drinks, and they didn't seem to like that. Could that make them angry enough to kill him? or rob him, or both? Yeah, it probably could.
All right. Well, if they happen to come back in again, can you make sure you give me a call?
I will. Thank you.
That is a huge step in the right direction. Now we have the ability to speed up this investigation. I don't know where you are. Not yet, I don't, anyway. But I'm going to find you.
Lieutenant Joe Kenda is investigating the brutal murder of Carlos Espinosa, a quiet, kind-hearted young man.
He would do anything for you. He was a good guy.
While searching for information about Carlos and his unidentified girlfriend, detectives learned of 3 down-and-out barflies who had made Carlos the target for harassment.
Could they be involved in this? Absolutely. So our new focus is identifying and locating Ed, Joe, and Kevin.
Kenda gets a bead on Ed first.
We identify Ed through conversations in this bar. We locate him. He is in Denver, Colorado, where he has been for a couple of weeks. Everyone confirms his whereabouts. He could not have done this.
Kenda may be down to 2 suspects, but a little digging by his team reveals that Joe Olson has a criminal record, and he's recently been released from prison.
We immediately go to the parole division of the Colorado Department of Corrections.
Frank, how you doing?
Just fine, Lieutenant. How are you?
Good. Quick question for you. Any chance you know of a guy named Joe, just got out of prison recently, hangs out at Jack's place?
They name him immediately.
But what Joe Olson's parole officer says next essentially rules him out.
As a condition of parole, you cannot associate with people that sell or consume alcohol. Where is Joe? He's in a bar. That word gets back to his parole officer. He violates him.
He's been sent back to jail.
That didn't by chance happen today, did it?
Actually, no, it was 3 weeks ago.
He's been there ever since?
Mm-hmm, ever since.
Joe is in the can, and he's not getting out.
All right, thank you.
You got it. Thanks, man.
With the first 2 suspects crossed off the list, Kenda is left with Kevin Cruz.
We talked to him initially on the phone. So you want to come over and talk to you a minute about this killing that happened? Oh, Carlos, yeah, what a terrible thing. You home? Okay, we'll be by.
Kevin?
Yes, sir.
But I am beyond surprised. Because he only has one arm.
Detective Kenda, Detective Moore. Can we come in?
Sure, yeah, come on.
Thanks.
See our killer? This guy didn't kill anybody, not with a 35-pound rock, unless he's got a 26-inch bicep on his remaining arm, which he does not.
Kevin is no longer a suspect, but he does offer up a promising new lead.
Do you think of anyone that he might not have got along with, someone that might want to hurt him?
We did have a confrontation with this guy. I know he stole the guy's girlfriend.
Now that raised an eyebrow. Love angle? Revenge? That works for me.
You know what the girlfriend's name was?
Cheryl Monahan.
And he says Cheryl's previous boyfriend is named Dominic Cardosa.
All right, well, I appreciate your help.
Not a problem.
Right, thank you.
Kenda starts with Carlos's girlfriend, Cheryl Monahan. He tracks her down to a friend's place where she's staying.
Cheryl, the reason why we're here is we're investigating the murder of Carlos Espinosa.
What murder? Carlos?
This is news to her that Carlos is dead. She doesn't know what happened. This is not a person who stays up on the news or is in contact with very many people.
Can you think of anything that might have led up to this? Anyone he didn't get along with?
Namely, Kenda wants to know what had transpired between Carlos and Cheryl's ex, Dominic Cardoza.
She tells us the following story. She meets Dominic Cardoza in Jack's place. They start a relationship. She lives with Dominic for 4 months. During that time frame of the relationship, she began to see a darker side to him.
He was really not a nice guy, and he was very abusive to me.
She describes Dominic Cardoza as being a violent individual.
Cheryl also describes Dominic as extremely possessive.
Who have you been with? I haven't been with anyone. You are so
Who have you been
crazy.
That struck me. What did you say? Well, I just said he could be a really scary guy when he gets angry. Well, I'm looking for a really scary guy.
Lieutenant Joe Kenda has come to believe that 25-year-old Carlos Espinosa might have been killed over a woman named Cheryl Monahan.
Cheryl was initially the girlfriend of Dominic Cardoza. He was very abusive and had actually at one point smacked her around.
We have a person who is described as a scary guy when he gets mad. That works for me.
Cheryl tells Kenda that at first it was hard for her to break away from Dominic, but once she and Dominic befriended their kind, soft-spoken neighbor, Cheryl knew she was with the wrong man.
Carlos would bring over beer or bring over wine, and they would sit and drink, her, Dominic, and Carlos.
Hey, man, thanks for the beers.
Yeah, no problem, bro.
So
This
nice
is my
of you.
favorite beer.
So where do you work, Carlos?
Well, actually, I have 2 jobs.
When she first met Carlos, she thought how different he was.
Would you like some more wine? Yeah, let me help you out here.
Dominic had become this domineering, violent, confrontive person to her, and that Carlos was sweet and quiet and kind. She was very attracted to him because of it.
It was a really nice change from being around Dominic. So when it kept getting worse with Dominic, I moved in with Carlos.
They develop a relationship almost immediately.
Thank you.
This can be all right, okay?
Cheryl claims she and Carlos were happy together, but Dominic was not at all pleased with the arrangement.
That was not good, because keep in mind, they live right across from one another.
She tried to avoid any contact with Dominic, and Carlos did the same.
Cheryl tells Kenda that things got so bad that one night Dominic held her against her will inside his apartment, and Carlos had to call the police in order to get Dominic to release her. After that, Cheryl left to stay with a friend.
Anytime there's a potential love triangle, that anger, that jealousy, and that rage can be turned into a murder.
Again, I'm very sorry for the loss. Thank you.
I can feel it in my bones. Dominic is the one. Whenever you encounter a new person of interest, you never go directly to them. You ask around.
Kenda and his detectives canvassed the apartment complex where Carlos and Dominic lived.
What can you tell me about Carlos Espinosa?
They know what everybody else is doing. The guy on the first floor knows what's going on the third floor because he can hear through the walls.
Carlos, he was always a really nice, friendly guy. Never had any problems with him.
The general impression I got was that these two guys were friends, and then all of a sudden they weren't friends because there was a lady involved.
Do they know details? No, they don't. And the reason they don't, and they will tell you that, is they didn't want to know.
Thank you for your time.
Excuse me, sir.
Hi.
How you doing? You the building manager?
Yes, I am.
But when detectives approach the man in charge, they learn more.
Dominic, he was a troublemaker, and I heard there was an argument the other night.
Can you tell me what happened?
Well, they got into an altercation. I don't know if fists were flying, there was a lot of yelling, and I know somebody called the cops.
The manager corroborates Cheryl's story about the alleged kidnapping.
When was that?
That was Saturday night.
Saturday night. The night before you found Carlos.
It turns out police were called to intervene not long before Carlos was murdered.
The minute that manager says to me that police were here, then I am very, very elated about that because the police are going to have good information. They're going to know a lot of things the average person wouldn't know.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much for your help.
Oh, you're welcome.
That evening, Kenda tracks down the officers who responded to the altercation Cheryl described.
Can you tell me exactly what happened when you responded to that domestic at the apartment the other night?
Yeah, we got a call from Carlos. Said that his neighbor Dominic had taken Cheryl.
Carlos called the police on Dominic because of what he described as a kidnapping of his girlfriend. Dominic Cardoza was very abrasive and very aggressive and very violent.
Wait! You're in there!
You okay?
The police enter. There is Cheryl. There is Dominic.
Police secured Cheryl. Once she had calmed down, she gave them another complaint.
He stole my money.
I haven't stolen anything.
He stole 142 of my dollars.
I did not steal your money.
The officer stepped between, settled it, said, "Is it true, Dominic? Did you take money from her?" He admits it. Give it back. Well, all right. So Dominic returns the cash.
That settled, police escorted Cheryl across the hall to Carlos's apartment.
I don't know who you think you are.
Bro, how about you just go back in your apartment, man?
I'm gonna kill you.
You know what? Anytime, any place.
Get off me.
But as heated as the exchange was, Carlos and Cheryl just wanted to wash their hands of the matter.
Cheryl and Carlos didn't want to press charges. Said they were fine, so we left.
I'm gonna kill you.
For Kenda and more, the officer's account of the incident only deepens their suspicions about Dominic Cardoza. But it's what the officer says next that truly raises a red flag.
They remember seeing a knife on the floor in Dominic's room.
Did it look like that?
Kenda shows the officers a picture of the knife found at the crime scene.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, that's a knife.
In fact, Dominic actually kicked it to try and conceal it under the bed.
How about a duffel bag? Do you happen to see that in there?
I believe so.
Every bit of a crime scene is a sort of puzzle. The knife, the green duffel bag found near Carlos Espinosa's body, all part of the puzzle, all traced back to Dominic Cardoza.
Kenda is now confident he has enough evidence to issue a warrant for the arrest of Dominic Cardoza.
One of the best times to arrest people is 4:30 in the morning. If you party, you're home. If you work, you haven't left yet. And it's very likely you're in bed.
Kenda and his men enter the building and quietly make their way to Dominic's apartment.
So all your senses are hypered at that moment. Time tends to slow down a little bit. Generally, in my experience, when things go bad, they go bad right now.
Get up! Show your hands.
Less than 24 hours after Carlos Espinosa's mutilated body was found, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is closing in on the man he believes is responsible, Dominic Cardoza.
Let's see your hands. Get up. Show us your hands. Get up. You're under arrest for the murder of Carlos Espinosa.
He's still half asleep and wondering how this all happened to him in the last 35 seconds. And that's the ideal circumstance.
Morning, Dominic.
Get dressed.
As Kenda sizes up his suspect, he uncovers another important clue.
New shoes, Dominic?
For a guy that works only occasionally, making an investment in shoes, there's a reason. We go out to the dumpster behind the building and there they are. Blood-covered shoes, same size, same type. They're his. We confirm that by showing them to him. Are these yours? Yeah, they're mine.
Hands behind your back.
Kenda has plenty of evidence against Dominic Cardosa, but to ensure a conviction, he needs a confession.
He is very calm. I said, you know why you're here, Dominic?
You guys said I killed Carlos, but I didn't.
Well, you had a disturbance with him, and you threatened him. Isn't that what happened?
Well, yeah, that part's true. But I gave that money back to that girl. Okay, what else happened?
Dominic claims Carlos came by later that night.
We sat and had a few beers. He apologized, I apologized.
Hey, what's up, man? Brought over a couple beers.
Sweet.
Yeah, I just really, I've been thinking about this and I feel really bad about it. I just want to apologize to you, bro. Like, I mean, this isn't us, you know?
She's just gonna do you the same way she did me.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to say. I really like her. Like, I think she's really cool. And you just haven't treated her right lately, man.
You can have her.
Okay.
Had a few laughs. He went home and I went to bed.
And that's the story you want to go with?
I think he expects I'm just going to believe him, and I'm going to let him go. So I said, Dominic, you told me what happened last night, but you left out something. You forgot the part about killing Carlos?
We have all the evidence in the world right now to put you away forever.
And now he won't look at me. I said, Dominic, you have blood on your shoes. You know the laboratory is going to tell us it's Carlos's blood. All the evidence in the world points at you and to no one else.
This is your opportunity to tell us what happened. Did he threaten you? Did he come at you? If something like that happened, you need to tell us right now because it's the only chance you're going to get to do it.
What did you do?
Well, when he came over with a beer, we decided to go for a walk in the park.
Dominic claims that he intended to clear the air with Carlos, but that Carlos had other plans.
Messed up. I'm still pissed off. I know that, right?
You remember when I said anytime, any place? Time's now.
What are you doing? He pulled a knife on me. My knife.
Your knife? How'd he get your knife?
He must have stole it.
He stole your knife.
So I twisted his wrist and I stabbed him in the face in self-defense. I followed it up with one in the chest.
Dominic insists Carlos is the one who instigated the attack, but Kenda knows the notion of self-defense doesn't jibe with the level of violence inflicted.
I don't think there's any question in my mind that Dominic never was out of possession of that blade.
What? You know what I said I was gonna kill you? You know what I said?
He confronted Carlos in a blitz attack. He grabs Carlos, then stabs him in the face and chest and puts him down before Carlos knows what's happening.
Kenda also knows that most people who act in self-defense don't drag their attacker's body the length of a football field and then continue assaulting them.
At this moment, he's become a werewolf. I mean, this is an insane thing. He's throwing him off an embankment and climbing down in there. Then he continues savagely beats his head to a pulp with a 35-pound rock, and he's having a good time doing it. And I think when it's over, he's exhausted from every ounce of energy in his body engaging in this attack.
How many times did you hit him?
I don't know. A lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
He has told me enough to make a case. I have a physical evidence case. I have circumstantial evidence. I have everything I need to prosecute him. I want a statement. I get one.
Stand up. Get him out of here.
As Dominic Cardosa is carted off to jail, Kenda is relieved, knowing a monster like that will soon be off the streets for good.
When my father told me they got the murder, and I was just praying to God, thank God they found him, you know.
I believe that Dominic Cardosa was capable of killing anyone given the right motivation. That's what I signed up for, was to put people like that in a cage. And that's where he belongs.
Dominic Cardosa is deemed mentally unfit for trial and spends the next 2 years in the Colorado Mental Health Institute at Pueblo. When the trial resumes, he pleads guilty to second-degree murder and receives the maximum sentence, 48 years. But to the Espinosa family, no prison sentence can compensate them for the loss of their beloved son and brother.
He stole all my holidays because we have 6 kids plus grandkids and the holiday dinners, and there's one plate missing with my sons. I said, he stole Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, his birthday.
I'm very proud of my brother Carlos. When I come to Colorado Springs, every year my first thing is to go visit him, to let him know I'm here. How are you doing? You're watching over us. And all I'm doing is talking to a grave. And I can't talk to my brother.
People often ask me, well, how do you think that feels? I don't have any idea how it does. It is a common thing for some well-meaning friend to say, I know how you feel. No, you don't. No one does.